everyone, welcome to another episode of No Title Needed, coming to you from the beautiful Feinstein's Cabaret, right here at the Hotel Carmichael in Carmel, Indiana, USA. Ta-ta-ta-ta. I'm Cynthia Collins.
And I'm Scott Osborne.
We are what?
We are your co-hosts today.
Oh my God, you got that right, pal. And today we have the lovely Katy Rogers. And you are with Teter Organic Farms, correct?
Yes, Teter Organic Farm.
Just
singular.
one farm.
Just one.
Though
so
they
far.
have, right, but they have bought a lot of property. So what is your official title there at Teter?
I am the Director of Operations and simultaneously, for the time being, the Farm Manager.
Wow, what happened there?
Oh, it's just a couple of full-time jobs. Teter's an amazing place, and it has grown exponentially since its founding in 2016, and that kind of left us in a position where we are just adding people rapidly. So okay. I'm still those two people.
Okay, so they're like, we need this, we need that, and you're going to do everything. And so what?
Job has got to get done.
I might be a little controlling.
That's all right. Well, they obviously it needs, everything needs control. So what does Teter do? I mean, what is this company? I mean, it's a farm, it's organic, but.
Yeah, it's a unicorn though. It's so different from any farm most people will ever visit. So Teter is kind of known for growing produce for the food insecure in primarily Hamilton and Marion counties, but also surrounding areas. So you have people who are hungry, people who are food insecure, 36,000 known people in Hamilton County. It's a lot of people. And then you've got people who are ALICE, which is the working poor typically, like colloquially described. So those folks work at least 40 hours a week, but they're very paycheck to paycheck. One little hiccup and suddenly groceries are a problem, the electric bill's a problem, right? So no need exists in a vacuum. They're all connected, and Teter believes, our ethos tells us that if you're giving someone food, if you're helping someone who is struggling, it should not just be your cast-offs and things you don't want. It should be the best. They should have the same thing you want for your own family. Mm-hmm. And so we grow this locally, and it's arriving to people right after harvest, fresh, and high quality, and
delivered to their home.
Wow. Delivered to food banks, pantries, meal programs, and direct aid. Yes. Okay. Yes, and direct aid.
How do you figure out who gets the direct aid? Who can go to the food? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who gets the food delivered right to their house?
Well, people who call us can pick it up or have the food delivered. Volunteers help with that. The pantries individually, there's 42 pantries, give or take, in Hamilton County alone. And those pantries have clientele often based on region, like where they are. They'll serve certain groups, or on some demographic, it might be a shelter situation, different things, right? So the pantries decide who their clientele are, and the food bank gets the pantries our produce. So it goes down the chain. But Teter is more than that, too. I mean, I said it was a unicorn. It really is. We welcome the public to the farm, so we have over 3 miles of trails along the White River that are open to the public for free. We do customized education around agroecology and the environment for people of all ages. We do tours. We have 19 volunteer teams out there, and those are people that are coming together around shared core values, and that helps them build relationships because as we learned during the pandemic, there is a loneliness epidemic that was, exasperated. It just so obvious at that time when we couldn't gather. But what we've learned is it was there before, and it's going to be there for a while. And as people kind of leave their jobs, retire, maybe get sick, their family moves away, their friends go to Florida for the winter, whatever it is, they're no longer in proximity to people to build new relationships, and that gets really difficult. So, and young people sometimes have a hard time building relationships. So we bring people together. We have these intergenerational teams, and it's really amazing, and they do all kinds of stuff. And we have a rental facility out there, so we have a lodge and a big shelter and an outdoor chapel, and people get married there in cabins, and it's a really cool space.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
and what were you saying? You do stuff with the Boy Scouts?
Yeah, we have a Boy Scout troop that is based at Teter, Troop 101 in Hamilton County. But we have other troops that come out and use it for campouts and for getting badges and things like that, and Girl Scouts as well. It's not just
That's
BSA.
right. Not just those Boy Scouts. So you're along out the White River.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And what we were talking just prior, and how the sediment sometimes in the river, and you were saying the runoff.
Oh
and,
yeah.
That soft, mucky stuff
and
we all
how,
love.
Yeah.
right. And you guys, you grew
I
up here,
loved
so
it.
you loved it as a kid. And and I'm sure it all goes together. Everything runs into the water. Everything runs into the ground.
Yes.
There's runoff into the soil, but I mean, what does Teeter do about that? You're near the river. I mean, obviously it's organic.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you're
Organic for us is the floor, not the ceiling of management practices and environmental responsibilities. So we're beyond that. We're actually certified real organic, which is the next level.
Okay.
And we're a fair share farm, and we care very much about soil health, water health, and environmental quality. Like no one can be healthier than the soil that they're eating from and the air that they're breathing. So if you have an impact on those things, we believe we have a moral responsibility to everyone, to you guys included, to steward them in a way that helps to restore them and clean them up. So for us, that means how we farm. We use these agroecological principles that focus on how everything is connected. So I'm trying not to do anything on the farm that's going to have a negative impact on our shared environment and on all the populations there. Fungal, microbial, wildlife, human, right?
Yeah.
Not separating human from nature.
Right.
But also in the White River, because the White River has a history of pollution and problematic events, and we have over a mile of riverfront. So we have an impact, and we've restored 79 acres there that is floodplain. And so now when that floods, that water slowly filters back in. It's not carrying the sediment away. It's slowly filtering through woodlands that we tend, that we manage invasive species in and wildlife habitat. And that cleans that water as it slowly returns to the river instead of just washing everything in and flooding the neighbors downstream further, right? So, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with managing all this land, and we're trying to really step into that space and share it with people and encourage others.
It's like you're using the land in a way the land would appreciate.
Yeah, I would like that. Someday maybe I'll come back as a mushroom and a blade of grass and a tree and some rain and be glad that all of my parts were this in the past.
So you have that, which is of course smart, because you're naturally almost trying to naturally, like nature's intended, work.
Yes.
But how big is Teeter itself, where you grow everything? How many acres do you guys have?
We have just under 120 total. Okay, so it's 2/3 woodland roughly, and then we have our uplands, and that's the area where we have just shy of 8 acres of produce and food and flower production, and an apiary, and all of the agricultural practices.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a small to medium farm. It's a very diversified farm, though. That's the important part of how we do things. It's very diversified in every way.
And you have greenhouses, I'm assuming, because in the wintertime,
Right.
Because a regular farm, the winter, everything's shut down, but you probably have to go year round because
do.
you are providing.
People eat year round.
We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've just grown the greenhouses, or what do you do?
So we have 7 what we call tunnels. And that's what most people would recognize as a greenhouse. We designate the one that has supplemental heat for our plant starts in the winter. So we're starting the plants for summer in February. That one has a supplemental heat system, and that's our greenhouse. And then this is a little wonkish, right? The others we just call high tunnels or growing tunnels, and those we grow in ground, but they don't have any supplemental anything. It is purely a matter of using the greenhouse effect to warm the soil and allowing that ambient heat to dissipate at night, closing everything down, and let that dissipate and protect the plants. So we do cold hardy varieties in the winter, and we're able to grow in that kind of very basic system over the winter.
Oh, That's good. Year round. I mean, you're
Yeah.
constantly busy. It's not like we're taking there's no break.
There's no off
for
season.
providing food.
Yeah, there. Once upon a time, I was more involved in like row cropping and things that have a definitive off season,
Yeah.
and that's when you're doing procurement and getting everything ready and doing your planning. That's when
Yeah.
everything on your farm is perfect. By the way, is when you're making the farm plan. After
Well,
that, it's not perfect anymore. But
And farming
But
is
yeah.
hard because
Yeah.
there's no guarantee with farming.
Right.
You know, farmers have a hard job anywhere. I think farming is one of the, the weather is not going to cooperate with you. It's not like it's great. We have a full crop. It's wonderful.
Right.
It's very difficult. Now you have the greenhouses which help because do you use them during the summer
yes,
times
absolutely.
too?
There's
See,
shade cloth on them right now.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so you have that protection, because but I think it's very difficult. Well, I do for farmers.
I think it is, and I do it.
Yeah. And my God. So
Well,
were
there's
you
no
going to say
guarantees.
something?
Yeah,
There's
So,
no
no
guarantees,
guarantees.
but you
Yeah.
kind of have to be a guarantee because you're providing food for the food banks.
We mitigate what we
And-
can.
yeah.
And manage what we can. And the rest is out of our hands. So yeah, it's anything in life. You stack the deck in your favor.
Right.
And then you hope a tornado doesn't wreck the deck.
Yeah.
Right.
Or a hailstorm.
Or too much water,
fluke
or too
weather.
much drought.
Yeah.
And when people come there with these tours, which sounds so incredibly interesting to me, they're getting so educated about where our food comes from.
That's the hope. That's the hope. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
We, I'm kind of the last generation where most people in the Midwest and in this part of the country had some family member who had a farm. And when they were a kid, they had access to that green space, right? Uncles, grandparents, whatever. I hear a lot of stories. But as farms and land has consolidated into fewer and fewer owners, fewer and fewer people have that in their family. And so my kids' generation, I have 2 teenagers, their peers, even though we are in a mostly rural area in northern Hamilton County, their peers do not have access to that space, and they're not seeing those diversified style farms where they go, all right, well, this is where bacon comes from. I shouldn't name that. And, this is the stuff coming out of the garden, and this is what happens with the tractor. They're not seeing any of that. And so we get to welcome around 1,000 young people a year out to the farm for service time and projects and for field trips and learning experiences and tours and to use the trails. And yeah, we get to be that for them now. We've stepped into that space where that hole was left. So it's it's really easy for me to wake up in the morning and jump up and go to work, even though I'm not a morning person. Also
Yeah.
not a night person.
Well,
but,
I can tell.
Yeah.
But no, I'm kidding. I'm not either. And we have to take a little break. I hate interrupting, of course, but we're going to take a little break, and we will be back with Katy Rogers. Enough of this fooling around business. Hey everyone, welcome back to No Title Needed with our guest Katy Rogers. She is with Teter Organic Farm. One farm, about 120
Everyone
acres.
says farms plural.
It's okay, but we're going to go back a few years now, more than a few years. But what, here you are, the manager of this farm, and doing everything as usual, like everyone does these days. But you went to Purdue, correct?
I did.
Did I hear that right?
I did.
Now, were you majoring in agriculture or something? Go. I'm going to stop talking. You're going to tell us.
I did. I went to Purdue and I did a couple years in the ag program. And I was sitting in an ag engineering class one day, and I realized I was the only one there who wasn't going to inherit a farm, a large row cropping operation. And I did a little math, and I'm kind of risk adverse, and I didn't want to take out millions of dollars in loans to do this thing. And I thought, well, how else can I participate in the agricultural space? And so I thought, well, I could advocate for farmers. I could lobby for farmers. So I transferred. I went to IU. I got a degree in political science, and then it turned out I was pretty good at that stuff. And I never ended up overtly and exclusively lobbying for agriculture, but I got to do a lot of neat things. And I always had this side job on farms. I just kept going back. So I worked for a greenhouse operation. I worked on a sod tobacco and produce farm. Just different things. And I started learning my way around the industry a little bit. And it was then, and this is pathetic because I grew up around farms, but it was then that I realized how diversified agriculture is, right? I mean, it's like you wouldn't expect a patent attorney to do criminal law, right? Without some retraining in addition. And you wouldn't take your child to a cardiologist when they have a toothache. You understand that that's like that. So in agriculture, we tend to just go farmers, right? And we lump everybody together. And in our minds, everyone is a 60-year-old gentleman, fairly pale, right? Like everyone. And that's not agriculture. That is the most visible kind here. And so I learned through these different kinds, like I had a real passion for feeding people. That became my thing. I want to feed people. I believe that no matter your income level or your station in life or where you were born, you deserve nourishing, culturally appropriate foods. And so I when I bought my own farm, I was able to kind of learn more about hunger in the United States. And at that time I was in the Deep South. And about need and about the systems that are the reason for that. And I thought, well, I have to grow food. I have learned, I have practiced, bought a farm. We're going to do this. And then you realize, like, well, I'd like to see more farmers growing table crops, right? Why aren't they? And so deep policy dives there and figuring out that landscape. And okay, let's train up the people who want to do this. Let's figure out what land access looks like. Let's do all these things. So yeah, that's been a passion, and we work on all of that at Teter. It's about food access. It's about building community. It's about green space access. It's about the environment. It's about all of those things. But there are systems in place here, and I'm pretty well versed in what that looks like. And so I get to help other farmers, launch other farmers, and work on access
So
issues.
wait a minute. So do you have a farm?
I don't own one. I just manage Teter now.
Okay,
I sold my
but-
farm in Georgia and I came here.
In Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay, what were you growing?
It was also mixed produce in Georgia. So the area itself, it was also a tree farm. So we grew slash pine for like paper products and timber.
Wow.
But in the middle of that, we started this just initially 1 acre mixed produce. And then started learning about the hunger issues and the access issues and all of these things. And so there was a wonderful local woman. She's still there. This not-for-profit's still going. She started a not-for-profit, and there's farmer training, and there was a farmer's market that Connie started that was amazing. And it was serving like 9 counties in South Georgia because they didn't have one.
Wow.
All local products, all local food. And getting that food to schools, getting that food to the hungry.
So is that
working
what kind of
pantry
gave you the
system.
ding, ding, ding?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Yes. So I got there and I was working on this, and I meet her one day literally at the grocery store. And we become friends and
Were you
started
buying produce?
started way green down in
This is
Georgia.
just-
Yeah.
there's gotta be a better
produce.
way.
That was kind of how it went. Just like, why aren't there organics here? Yeah. So it was an amazing experience, and so I got to develop out my first produce farm and work on those issues of food security and the why of who's farming and who's not and what they're farming, and then I come here, and
So you're not from here?
I
Where are you
was
from?
here from 8 until 24.
Okay.
And then I moved away and moved back at 40. And I've been at Teter for the last
So
7
you went to
years.
Georgia, had your farm,
Yep.
and then-
Yep. Did all the things, came here, and was actually applying for some other jobs and buying a farm here. And this job came up. And I went, well, how strange that it's everything I've done.
right. So you
So
didn't
here
buy
I
a
am.
farm here.
We bought and then sold, and I took the
So,
stub.
okay. Do you have any kind of garden at home?
Garden. Well,
Or are you like Teter's enough? I go there every day.
I live at Teter.
Yeah.
So I
In one of
kind
the
of have
greenhouses?
7 to 8 acres of garden. No, so oddly, I don't know if this is interesting or not. I'm not a gardener.
Oh my
It's
God.
not my thing. So I appreciate it. I want everyone to do it. But farming is different, and farming's more my vibe.
Okay.
Like, I like the scale of farming. It leads to different management practices. But I kind of like the high stakes of farming. I like that there are people on payroll and people depending on this produce,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, that. So I do say I'm a farmer. I'm not a gardener. I help people with their gardens all the time. I'm happy to help people with their gardens.
Right.
But
You like the big scale.
I like the big scale. I
Yeah.
like seeing truckloads of things go
Yeah.
to people who need it, and knowing that we're having that level of impact. And who knows,
Uh-huh.
maybe when I retire, I'm not going to be able to step away, and I'm going to become this gardener who just, turns their entire place into a garden. I don't know.
And your parents never had a garden or anything in the back of the house, or what?
No, they did. My parents, I would say, were hobby farmers. So they both worked off site, but they had horses and a hay field and gardened,
Yeah.
and had peacocks because
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of the novelty
Right.
thing they had going on. Was I grew
Wow.
up with peacocks, but yeah, they're amazing people, and they're farm people, but it's not their livelihood. It's not their
Right,
living. So
right.
yeah, my mom grew stuff, but we did things that now I would pull back from, like because we didn't know anything about food safety. Right, so we would just like clean a horse stall and put it in a box and put tomatoes in it and eat the things, and I never I never knew anything about any of it. So
Yeah.
you can kind of get away with stuff like that at home.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's fertilizer.
It is
So you might as
fertilizer.
well, it's fertilizer.
Right,
I mean,
right.
everyone did it.
Right,
Yeah.
just needs to break down first.
Yeah. Everyone collected that and then
Yes.
then put it through the
Yeah.
I grew up riding in my aunt had a huge horse farm and they take the manure and then they would sprinkle the field with it.
Right.
Just for the grass
Right.
though. The
Yeah.
horses, but they had a huge garden too, and I'm sure they used it for their garden as well.
I'm sure.
But they would put it through like some kind of tractor chopper.
Like a manure spreader kind of thing
Almost
with
like
a flail.
huge big one, that the
Yeah.
tractor would
That's
pull.
awesome.
So they did that.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, I ate that stuff, so I'm
We
You're
all
still
did.
here.
I'm still here.
We
I don't
all
know
did.
how I am mentally. It could have
Yes.
affected me, but
No, you know what? I think that experience was how I ended up as practicing agroecology, because I understood the nutrient cycle at
Right.
that very basic level.
Right.
And so it was kind of a natural step into, well, the nutrient cycle is a real thing. How does it work? Let's learn the science behind
Right,
this.
right.
And that's how I got here.
tell us if people want to cut. We got to wrap it up.
Goes by quick.
Katie Rogers. And Philip will put this on the screen, but if people want to come and see the farm,
Yeah.
can they? What is the schedule? Can they come every day? Real quick.
Okay, shameless promotion. Teter Farm Fest is August 15th, and the tickets are on sale on our website. And our website is Teter, Teter, organicfarm.com.
Okay.
So get on that website. Through that, you can call, you can email, you can sign up for tours or volunteering, or all
Okay.
kinds of things. But
Okay.
that Farm Fest, August 15th, big family event. The Conner Prairie Heritage Farm Animal Petting Zoo is there. There's music, there's food, there's a 5K. It's a huge thing. So yeah, come in. Kids are free. Just bring a little donation for the food bank truck.
Excellent.
Great.
Yeah.
Katie Rogers.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you
for being
so
here.
much.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
guys.
helping to feed everyone and
you.
keeping farming alive
Mm-hmm.
and giving everyone education about it, because guess what? Food comes from somewhere.
Not the
Not
grocery.
Not the supermarket. Right. The grocery store actually is grown in the ground. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of No Title Needed here at Feinstein's. Come on over, see a show. Something going on every night. You won't be disappointed. And I am Cynthia Collins.
And I am Scott Osborne.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.